Okay, I've thought about it a little bit, and for the radio install, this is going to be part 2 of my TYT TH8600 communications radio install for the Maverick Trail. I did a little teaser in the beginning about getting all my parts and things sourced and ready. So in looking at it, I think I'll do it in 3 parts. This will be part 2. And for me to get the radio prepared and programmed while it's on the bench will be much easier than doing it after it's actually installed. So this video will be on the setup and programming of the radio itself. And so yeah, it'll be 3 parts, and we'll just see how it all works out. So the first step, obviously, or maybe not obviously, is to install the software that came with the radio. It's this little tiny disc here. A lot of folks don't know that these little tiny discs will fit in all these CD drives. So we'll put that in there. We'll let the CD load up the directory and do whatever it's doing. So wish this camera had a pause. It's just got a stop and a start. Anyway, we'll let that sit for just a second while this old slow computer's doing its thing. The file that we're interested in is labeled TH8600. Evidently there's programs and drivers for a number of different radios on the CD. So we've highlighted that. In fact, let's double click on it. There's the TH8600EXE. We'll right click. And let's just open it and see. I thought we'd put that in. That's going to go right for the setup program. Don't need to put it in downloads. It's just going to put it it's just going to install it right from the CD. So I didn't have to unzip it like I thought I would have to. So yeah, let's let the app make changes on the computer. And we want it in English. And yeah, everything's cool. So say yes. And I'm going to let it put it in the directory at once, and the name at once, and everything's cool. So now we're installing the program. Finish. Okay, we'll close that. We don't need that anymore. Where did it put it? There it is right there, TH8600. So from there we'll launch the program. Okay, it needs to download NetFramework 3.5, so that's fine. That's going to take a few minutes. That's a pretty big download. We'll let it download and install that. That's from Microsoft. I'm going to pause it right here because we don't need to wait through this. Okay, it looks like NetFramework 3.5 is all loaded up. Tells me I may need to restart apps that require it, but we'll just close. We'll close that, and we'll restart. Yep, because it's not open. We'll restart the programming software that's called TH8600. We'll restart it. Come on, we will restart it. Click, click. There we go. Okay, the program started. I'm going to maximize it. And now this is the USB to serial cable. So there's a driver that came with this that's supposed to support the USB dongle here. So we'll plug that into a USB port. It should pop up. In fact, there we go. Setting up a device. We're setting up a USB serial controller. In fact, and it should say that it's ready here in just a moment. Come on. Don't know if it is or not, but we'll find out when we go to work with the radio. In fact, let me stop the camera and take it off the tripod. Yep, actually it just came up, device is ready, so we're good to go there. Let me take it off the tripod now. Okay, next step is to get the radio ready. I've done a little bit. I have already wired the power cord. This is the power cord for it. I've already wired it up to a little power supply that I have over here. It's been running my other radio for a while, so I know it's good. I've already checked with a voltmeter that I've got the polarities right and the voltage is correct. So the power is ready to go, but we have to open up a screw on the back here. This is kind of hard one-handed. This screw, if you take that out, let's see if I can do that one-handed. You take that screw out and you pop this open. Okay, once I got that little screw out of the middle, I had to use a little screwdriver to pop this up. This is all sealed. You can see that the orange is really soft rubber that gets compressed against the plastic when it's screwed down, so it maintains its waterproof IP rating that way. But you'll notice one of them is the little miniature USB port, so let's plug that in there. How are we going to do this one-handed? We will plug in, whoops, I'll just set that down right there. We'll plug that in there. Always got it upside down. There we go. So the radio's plugged into the USB port. I'm sorry for the poor camera work here, guys. Maybe not quite ready to do this, but didn't want to delay it either. We'll plug the mic in. It had a nice little rubber cap over the front, so pull the rubber cap off. It's keyed, so it only goes in one way. Oh, and it has a rubber grommet. Again, I'm sorry for the jumpy photography. There was a grommet that I almost lost on the end there, so make sure that rubber stays there or you'll lose your waterproof. It's just hard to do one-handed, all this photography, and so yeah, I had that ring crooked. It's going down on the threads now. We got a mic plugged in. So we've got a mic plugged in, we've got the USB port plugged in. You know, I have an antenna already. In fact, I've set it out on the window over here. I don't really want to run the risk of accidentally keying up the radio without the antenna. So I've got the antenna cord all ready to go over here, and it is lost. Here we go. So we'll pull that little cap off of the antenna connector. We'll put an antenna on it. That way, if I accidentally key it up, it'll have the proper load on it. You shouldn't key a radio up that doesn't have a good antenna on it. So that's all ready. Like I said, I've already checked my polarity and everything on my power supply. So let's plug in the power. And I heard it click just a little bit when I did that. Now we'll turn it on. And I've got it upside down, so there we go. This little green button over here is the power button. And okay, so it's powered up. Now I'll tell you a little secret. I've already programmed it a little bit. I wanted to make sure it didn't have a dud or anything. So I've got a little bit of programming in it, and but I'll still show you the whole process. The very first thing you want to do with the software, let's get rid of the tripod. Very first thing you want to do is to upload from the radio to the computer because it sets up some sort of a format for it that way. You can't just do your programming and then download it. So let's see. When you hover over those, that's write. We don't want to write, we want to read. So that's the read. We're going to read what's in the radio right now. If the USB port is plugged in, and everything's correct, it should just do that. So it's read the radio, and it says succeed. And we'll click on OK. And actually now you can see some of the frequencies that I've already put in it. If you're not doing amateur radio work where you have repeaters and all kinds of fancy squelch types and encoding and decoding and all that, there's not a whole lot to set up here. I've got it set right now for weather channels. The first... You're leaving?
I'm leaving.
I'm working and making a film. You barged in on my film. Say goodbye. Okay. That's kind of funny. Anyway, pretty easy to program. What you need to do is figure out what frequencies you want to use. So I thought I had this already over here. Maybe they're there. Oh, come on. Where is... Did I use... There we go. Okay, so as a for instance, NOAA weather frequencies. You can Google the NOAA weather frequencies. There's a list of the NOAA weather frequencies right there. So you merely pick a channel number. There's channels, I think it's up to 200 channels on this particular radio. You pick a channel number. For channel number 1, I picked the first channel of the NOAA weather radio stuff. It's 162.4. I do not want to transmit on it, so I have nothing selected for the transmit frequency, just the receive frequency. There's no decoding or encoding. It's just regular old squelch for squelch type. Let's see, I've got these, the power doesn't matter right here. You have a choice between low, medium, and high, but since there's no TX frequency selected or entered, there's not going to be anything there. No B-lock. Steps aren't terribly important since we've got them on channels anyway, but you do want it changed to narrowband. That's pretty important for reception. Make sure it's set to narrowband and not... See the choices, you can click here and get a drop down. Choices are narrow, wide, and mid. Almost everything we're going to do is narrowband FM. And you may label your frequencies right here. I hope this video is working out. You can also do some, if you click over here where it says basic, then there's all kinds of different tricks. You can make things display frequency or channel number or this or that or the other thing. You can set your basic squelch levels here, that sort of stuff. So you get all that typed in, and then you click on these double right arrows right here, and that causes it to write what you have written to the radio. If we look over here at the radio, it says clone in right now, and it's doing a count up. And still counting. It only takes a second and it'll be done. And about 2 more seconds, 1 more second, all done. So now in order to get see, I know that WX7 is the weather that I can receive here. So this is the volume key. That's turned way up. So why am I not getting WX7? A lot of controls both on the front of the radio and on the microphone. So, I'm surprised that I am not hearing the weather. Why not? So if we were to go to channel 006, see it changed to WX6 down here. Interesting. I may have to do some editing here. Maybe my antenna's not in a good place, because I know channel 7, which is WX7, has weather. Let's move this antenna around a bit. Again, I'm really surprised. It almost came. Okay, I'm in a metal shop, and that's not real conducive to getting good reception inside, but we can see the radio's working. That's the basic premise for programming these radios. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about what kind of frequencies you might want to put in these things. I am not going to recommend any particular frequencies, because there's a lot of things you could do here that are actually illegal, and I know a lot of people do them, but it's up to individuals whether they want to do it or not. Again, there's nothing wrong with listening. You can listen to any frequency, any radio service there is. There is absolutely no law against listening, but there are laws against transmitting on radios that you're not licensed for, that require a license. So obviously you don't want to put a police or fire frequency in, and these things are capable of doing that. You could actually put police radio in it and interfere with their transmissions, especially older police radio, the poorer cities and counties that haven't converted to digital. These things will talk right over the top of them. Anyway, here's just a sampling. There's the National Weather Service, where you can get all of your weather information, and that's pretty universal, coast to coast. There's almost 100% coverage all the way across the country for the weather radio. If you want, you can Google rugged radio frequency list and see what you get. There's a list of, I don't know how well that's going to come out, but there's a list of the PCI radio, PCI race radio frequencies. That's how the race radio comes pre-programmed. One of these is a chart for the rugged comm. Rugged comm is very quiet about the frequencies they use. In fact, you basically have to be a signed in member on their website in order to get a list of the frequencies. But they're out here in other places too. So, in fact, there's this one says rugged radio versus pace radio. There's a whole list of frequencies there. So when you type these in, again, they don't require any tone control or any of that. They're all simplex. You just put the transmit frequency is the same as the receive frequency. No big deal. So it's illegal to put the FRS frequencies. Let's see if that pops up big. Illegal to use FRS, and here's why right here. If we can see this, the max permitted power for FRS is 2 watts on channels 1 to 7. And this is why I tell you guys, with my little radios, I always stay on the lower channels, because these little radios we have that are unlicensed, they fall in the FRS category. The GMRS over here that's allowed 5 watts, that is a licensed radio. That they're not the little blister packs of Midland or Cobra or all that. They're a GMRS radio. You can use 5 watts for it. And on GMRS, you can have a detachable antenna that multiplies your power quite a bit. So anyway, there's a list of all the channel numbers and frequencies for FRS and GMRS. Once you get up to channel 15, you can see where it goes. The mid channels are just a half a watt available or legal. You get down to the higher channels and it's back to 2 watts. Anyway, so a person could put these in. It will work. I know that is illegal to do, and that's what I'll pass on about that, is they're illegal. So anyway, Googling and figuring out what you want to put in them, that's half the trick. Takes a little while to get them all programmed up, but there's some satisfaction when you get it going. I think that's about the end of what I'm going to say today. I know this is a pretty poor quality video, but I wanted to get this knocked out. I'm going to work on the physical install next, but it may be a week or more before I get to that. I've got some chores coming up that I need to do. Anyway, I'll go put this together and see if it comes out decent enough to publish. The TH8600 by TYT. It's the IP67 waterproof radio. Yeah, it's an inexpensive radio that's very small and is pretty well accepted in the ATV world. And we'll just see where we go from here. Okay, so keep an eye out for part 3. That'll come in a week or so. Bye-bye.